Hi there! In this video, we're gonna learn how to debug the application. So first and foremost, the first bug that we should fix is that when the application goes into the landscape mode, every data will be cleared. So what do I mean by that? For example, if I try to answer these questions and then I decide to use the application in a landscape mode. So let's see what happens. So here at the right, we've got this side, this great side area. And here we've got some options. For example, we can use the volume up, volume down. And here we've got two other options, the rotate left and the rotate right. We have also another option to take screenshot. So if you want to take a screenshot of your application, this is a great option to use. We have the enter zoom mode and some other options. And we have also these ellipses here that it is going to give us some more functionalities of our emulator. For example, you might want to use the sensors, the virtual sensors that we have here for this emulator. But we're going to use them later. For now, let's just go back to the normal state. Now I want to use this application in a landscape mode. So here, if I want to get the phone in a landscape mode, first I need to click on this rotate right or rotate left. And then here it's going to show me this option to click on it. And then we can get the phone in a landscape mode. Okay, it's a little bit tricky in the emulator. So if you use this feature on your physical device, it will be easier to get the application in the landscape mode. So now you can see that the information of this code is cleared. Okay, it just backs to the text view. It's not what we want to see in the landscape mode, and this is not good. So there are multiple ways to solve this problem. But the first and the easiest way to solve this specific problem is to go back to our Android Studio and then open the project pane, open the app folder, and then open the manifest.xml file. So here we can set the orientation of our activity. So as I told you earlier, the manifest file is going to give us some information, some general information about our application. So for example, we've got the application, the allow backup icon, label, round icon, and some other information. And we have this activity tag. So this is the activity tag for the main activity that we have inside the application. In other words, if you don't use this activity tag in your application won't run. So for example, I'm just gonna delete this activity tag from my manifest file, and I'm gonna try to run the application. Okay, at the bottom it is showing me an error, and it says error running app, default activity not found. So there is no activity inside my application so that my project could be run. Okay, if I try to run the application again it's going to show me this error. So I'm going to undo my action, and the activity is back, the main activity. So the dot here refers to the activity that we have inside the package that is specified here above. And here it is my package, and here it is the main activity that we have inside this package. By package, I mean, if you go to the Java folder, here it is the package that contains our activity. And its name is the same as the name that we have as the value of this package here. And this main activity is actually inside of this package. So now we have some intent filter. The intent filter is going to specify whether this activity is going to be the first activity, the main and the launcher activity, which specifies that when we run this application, we want the main activity to run first. We want this activity to be the first view, the first activity that is shown to the user. And here I can set some other attributes for my activity. So here, before this tag of this activity here, I'm gonna say orientation. Just type in here orientation and select this Android screen orientation attribute. So here we can select some attributes, some values, but here I want to select portrait. So the portrait means that the application won't go in the landscape mode, and it is always will be in the portrait mode. And some of the popular applications in the Google Play have this attribute set, the screen orientation to be portrait. So you can take a look at some of the popular applications, because some of those applications do not need the app to go into the landscape mode. So the portrait mode is the thing that they need. So we set the portrait as the screen orientation of this activity. So this means that now if I try to run the application, so now let me change it back to the portrait mode. So here, I'm just gonna play with the app a little bit here. I'm gonna get some scores. So now I'm gonna just rotate right. So here, it doesn't show me the option to click on, so the application goes into the landscape mode. And if you use this feature, if you test your application on a physical device, you will see that when you just rotate your physical device and you want to see the application in the landscape mode, it won't change. It will stay in portrait mode. So that is one solution that we can use for this application. There are other solutions that we can use. So for example, we have another solution that is going to save the value of this score, and then we can get it back in the landscape mode. So we'll learn more about these features later in the course. But for now, this is a solution for this specific bug or problem. So now let's go ahead and solve the next problem. So here, when the quiz finishes, here, for example, the progress bar is finished and I have answered all of the questions. I don't want to get back to the first question again, okay? Because this is a bug and I don't want to keep scoring. As you can see, the progress bar is finished, but still I can keep scoring, and that is not good. So let's go back to our Android Studio, and here we need to create a dialog. We need to show a dialog to the user and say that, okay, the quiz is finished, here it is your score, and if you want to, you can reset the quiz. So how do we know when the quiz is finished? So here you know that we have this M question index, and when we run the application, the current value of this M question index is 0, okay? Because here inside the main activity, we try to get the first question from this question collection, and then we set the text of this mtxt question to be mquiz question, the first question that we get from the question collection. But here inside the change question on button click, here we try to add one value to the current value of this M question index, right? So when we tap on one of these buttons, this method gets executed and the value of this M question index will be changed. So here we can check that after the user taps on these buttons for a couple of times, then when the quiz is finished, at some point, the value of this M question index gets back to 0 because of this modular operation that we have here, right? As we discussed earlier in the previous tutorials. So now, when the value of this M question index gets back to 0, then at that point, we are sure that the quiz is finished. So now we can show an alert dialog to the user. So how we can do that? Here, after setting the value of this M question index, I'm going to create an if statement. I'm going to say if M question index is equal, so the double equal operators in programming means equal, but one equal operator means assignment operator. This is very important. So I put two equal operators in order to specify that I want to compare two values together. So I'm going to say if M question index is equal to the 0, then in this case, we are sure that the quiz is finished. So we do not allow the other codes to be executed. And here inside the if statement, inside the curly braces of this if block, I'm going to create an alert dialog. So let's say alert dialog dot builder, and then we need to give it a name. So I'm going to name it as quiz alert assignment operator, and then I'm going to say new alert dialog dot builder. So now we need to pass the context. So we have two options. The first option is to pass the get application context. And as you may already know, that the context is actually the current state of the application. This alert dialog must know the current state of the application so it can show the alert to the user. So we can simply call this method get application context to automatically get the context. But we have another option. We can simply pass this. So this refers to the current activity, the main activity, and this actually means an instance of the current main activity. So it's gonna just get the context from the current activity. So in this case, it is main activity, or you can simply say main activity dot this. So both of these options are valid, but I personally think that if you pass this, it's a little bit simpler, and then you can put a semicolon at the end of your statement. So now we need to give this alert a title. So I'm gonna say quiz alert dot set title, and the title is going to be a string value. So I'm gonna say the quiz is finished, and then semicolon, and then we can set the message of this alert. So I'm gonna say quiz alert dot set message. So the message can be a message ID that we get from the string resource, or it can be a string value char sequence. So I'm gonna put 2 double quotes here, and I can get the value of the user score. So I can say, for example, your score is, and then I put a space, and then I'm gonna concatenate this value with the M user score, and that's it. In this way, we get this message and we show it to the user. And now it's time to set a button for our quiz alert. So I'm gonna say quiz alert dot set button. So just type in here button, and you can see some options here. For example, we have set negative button. So for example, we can say cancel, and then we can do something when the cancel is tapped. Or we have the neutral button, positive button, and some other options. But for this specific quiz alert, let's choose the set positive button. First, we need to specify the text of our button. So I'm gonna say the text is, okay, finish the quiz, okay? And then we need to set an on-click listener for this positive button. So I'm gonna put a comma here after this first argument, and the second argument is going to be an on-click listener. So I'm gonna type in here new, and then just hold down the shift key on your keyboard and press on the letter O on your keyboard, the on-click listener. So the first option is dialog interface dot on-click listener. I'm gonna select this one, and now you can see that the Android Studio automatically puts some codes here for me. New dialog interface dot on-click listener. The on-click listener is set for this positive button. So when this button is tapped, the on-click method will be called. So at the end, after this ending parenthesis, just put a semicolon. Inside this on-click method, let's actually close the application. Let's say finish. So the finish will close the current application, and the application will be closed. So the user has to start the application again. So let's go ahead and run the program. But if I try to run the program now, the alert dialog or the alert won't be shown to the user. Why? Because we haven't called the show on this quiz alert. So I'm gonna say quiz alert dot show. This is very important, semicolon. So now let's go ahead and run the program and see what happens. So let's play with the quiz a little bit here, and let's get some score, and let's see what happens when the quiz gets finished. So now it says your score is 8. The quiz is finished. So now if I try to finish the quiz, the application will get closed. So I'm gonna do that now. Now the application closes. So I'm gonna run the application again, and then I can start from the start. So I'm gonna just get some score here, and I try to finish the quiz here. So now the alert is shown to me, and it says your score is 6. Here I have a typo. I need to fix this typo here. So let's go back to the quiz application, and let's change this U to your. Okay, so now there is a problem here. If I try to tap on another area other than this quiz alert, the alert will be actually closed, not the application. So for example, I'm gonna tap on an empty area outside of this quiz alert and see what happens. So you can see that the alert is gone. Okay, so this is a bug that should not happen. How can I solve this problem? So go back to Android Studio here, and after creating the alert here, I'm gonna say quiz alert dot set cancelable false. So the cancelable method won't allow the quiz alert to close when the user taps on an empty area inside of our application. So I'm gonna run the program again, and I'm gonna play with the quiz a little bit here, and I'm gonna get some scores. So now the alert is shown to me, but now if I try to tap on an empty area, you can see that the alert won't be closed and I am not allowed to interact with the application anymore. So I just need to click on this finish the quiz. So now the quiz is finished and the current activity is closed. So if I try to run the application again, I need to open it again. So now everything starts from the new. And another thing that we need to solve here is the text of this text view, this score. So we can go to this activity under alignment.xml. We can select this text view, txt quiz stats, and I can delete the value of this text attribute. So now it is gone. In the next video, we're going to learn about the Android app factory.